Hello, everybody, and welcome to our third episode of Eat, Drink, Dump. I'm Dane, and tonight I am drinking Stag.
I'm Matt, and I'm not drinking tonight because I got too much to do tomorrow.
I'm Scott, and I'm drinking Stag as well.
Okay, a lot went on this weekend. My brother got married, which is cool. I was the best man in that, so I was gone all weekend doing that.
Scott, what did you do?
Oh, God. I got laid.
Yeah. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Boy, Scott got laid.
Yeah, I come back yesterday, right? Or
yeah.
no, Sunday.
No, Sunday.
And the weather was nice. We were grilling out, and Michael and Matt
we had gone out to Dairy Queen because we had promised Scott. I guess at the beginning of the semester, if he ever got laid, we were going to go out and buy him a cake, an ice cream cake that said "Congrats on the sex." I don't think Scott thought we were going to do it, and then it happened.
I completely forgot that was a thing.
It happened, and then I got a text from Michael, and he's like, "Hey, we need to go get that cake." And I was like, "You know what? We really do."
So we had a cake. We grilled out. It was great. I know she listens to our podcast every week, so. You know who you are, and thank you. She's lovely, and she's nice. The cake was amazing.
Oh, the cake is great.
Yeah, it was a Reese's cake. Come get a slice of cake, actually, if you're listening. So my brother got married. Congrats to them. I highly doubt they're listening, but if they are, congrats to them. It was a cool ceremony. It was long, because it was my brother and his now wife are Catholic, and so it was just like a super long affair, and I'm not exactly used to that, which is fine.
Scott, wasn't your sister's wedding Catholic too?
I can't remember what it was, but I didn't really care. It wasn't that long.
It wasn't that long, but I thought they said it was a Catholic wedding, and my dad was like, "Oh man, we're gonna be here forever." But then we didn't.
We weren't there.
We were there for more than an hour.
The thing is, and I heard people later saying, "Oh, it was a beautiful ceremony." The deacon that married them, he did such a great job with all this stuff. I could not tell you whether he did a good job or not, because where the wedding party was having to sit while this was going on.
Yeah.
The speakers were all in front of us, and they were facing towards the congregation. So the sound was not making it over to us at all. So I could just hear it just sounded really muffled. It was sound, but it was not, definitive at all. So I have no idea. I'm sure it was great. I couldn't hear anything though while I was sitting back there.
Why weren't you standing up?
Yeah.
Well, we did. We stood up for most of it, but there were where he was giving the speeches and the readings and stuff, because in the Catholic weddings they do readings and things along with it, and so for that we had to sit down, and it was
I'm saying why weren't you standing with your brother? Why would they make you come back and sit down? I've never heard of that.
We had to sit down off to the side.
Weren't you in the front at least?
Yeah, we were in the front, but we had to sit off to the side, and it was because for part of it was just those two standing. The wedding party wasn't standing up.
Okay.
It was just those two, and then for the most part, we were standing up there. I know there was a part of the wedding, towards the end, where all of the bridesmaids are sitting there, and they're all bawling, and I kind of glanced back at my brother's other groomsmen, and they're all just stone-faced, just, sitting there. And but it was a good time. I also had one of my best friends got married this weekend. So congrats to Bourbon Tinder. I had 2 weddings that I had to end up at this weekend, which was super hectic. Congrats to them. I'm so glad that they did it. I wish I could have been there for longer. Whatever. They got 2 kids together, which is cool. I think they're doing. I think they're waiting to do their honeymoon until later. But
that would probably be smart.
Yeah, I think they're doing it the end of the summer or something. But
did you go to high school with him?
Yeah. This guy was. Throughout high school, we were absolutely inseparable, and it was obviously really cool to be able to be there and to see them get married, because they've been together a long time and they're both great. So, you know, that was really cool. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sitting with that topic, do you guys like have a wedding that was like what would you say is like the best wedding you've ever been to?
You know, honestly, the best wedding I went to, I think, and it was my really good friend Shelby. I've known her since I was in kindergarten, which is the same way with my friend Burp, who just got married this weekend too. We've known each other since kindergarten, you know, so we've been friends a long time, and she is, in every sense of the word, she's a family member to me. Her and her husband Scott, when they got married, it was a really simple ceremony. You know, it was at a church near my hometown. When they got married, it was a small wedding. And then after that, we went to the reception, and the reception hall was smaller. It was really intimate, and it was nice. I mean, it was just a really simple time. It was really fun. I mean, I thought it was great. You know, it was a time for everybody to just be able to get together, and you know, it was cool. That was probably my best, just because it was very simple, and it was very simple, and it was elegant but not elaborate.
Okay, yeah. Scott, what would you say was your favorite or best wedding?
I've only been to like 2, so I would have to pick my sister's just because she's family, and I had a lot of fun with my brother-in-law's friends. They're entertaining when drunk, so. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, getting all the families together.
I was going to say, because I thought your sister's wedding was fun, too, just because, I went to, let's see, we've only had one wedding on our side of the family that I remember going to, because, like, the other ones I was pretty young at, so, I kind of remember them, but not really. And then my cousins, who just recently, this weekend, actually had a child, Their wedding was fun, but it was super strict, and it was like, it's weird when it's all of your other family, because you don't feel like you can cut loose as much,
right?
Because you're like, dude, I don't want to get like obliterated and then have to like dance around and have people be like, oh, yeah, typical Matt over there. But no, I was gonna say Scott's wedding, we had some lady that we asked your sister about later, and we could never figure out who she was.
Yeah, she bought us drinks.
She kept buying us drinks at the bar, great. And she's like, you guys want a drink? And we're like, yeah. So she just kept hooking us up, and then like we asked Nicole about it, and she's like, I really don't know who that is. So
still have not found out.
Nice.
Whoever that lady was, way to go.
Look through the pictures.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, I had I actually, believe it or not, I stayed sober for my brother's wedding.
Oh God.
Yeah, which was nice. I had one drink at the wedding, and it was while I was doing the toast. So you know, but and believe it or not, they didn't. My one complaint about the ceremony is that they did not have wine at the wedding.
Why was that your one complaint? Why would wine matter?
Well, in an event like that, I generally don't drink wine, but at an event like that, I like to drink wine, and it wasn't any fault of theirs. It was more the hotel that they were that they were having the reception at didn't serve wine, and it wasn't. I mean, obviously, it wasn't a big deal because I just got Jack and Coke anyway, but it just felt like that was something wine was something that
you figured I think would be there.
Yeah, you need it at an event like that, and it wasn't. So that's a very small complaint. It was really good. It was big wedding though. It was a really big wedding. I think there was
simple.
What?
Big but simple. Like
no, my brother's was very elaborate.
Your brother? Oh, yes. Your buddy's was what? It wasn't.
No, yeah, my friend Shelby, hers was very simple, very elegant. My brother's was obviously it was very cool. It was very elaborate, which is fine. I mean, it was different. Obviously, I mean, it was because it was in a Catholic church, so I mean, obviously the ceremony itself was elaborate, but the reception was very very elegant. It was very formal. It was a big wedding. The wedding itself had 150 people, I think, at it, and I think the reception had somewhere around 400.
Whoa!
So yeah,
400 people?
it was a big thing. So that was cool. Well, as far as the best man speech, I tried to keep it as simple as possible.
Mhm.
So I mean, it was, but it was fun. We had a good time. I wish I could have actually stayed longer, but we had to get we had a 3-hour drive
To and
back.
from,
Yeah, back. So. We had to leave somewhat early. We got to see a lot of people, though. It was very cool. I don't know if they're on their honeymoon now or when they were going on. I know they're going to somewhere in Florida for it, which is cool.
Was it like the Keys or?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not completely for sure. So I kind of hate to say and then not not get it right. But it is somewhere in Florida. And then my buddy Carson from high school, and he's the host of the Season Effect. He was he was the best man at my friend Burb's wedding, which is very cool. Obviously I wasn't there for most of the reception and for the wedding, but I heard his best man speech was really good. It's cool. It's really kind of strange though, because all of my friends now are getting married or having kids, and it's kind of strange because I still think of myself still as a little kid, and I don't think mentally, I don't think of myself as like really being past high school all that much, and now it's like all my friends are having kids or getting married, and to me that's strange. It's really cool. But it is weird.
Yeah, I think because we got the same thing because our buddy Taylor he got engaged.
Yeah, that's true.
And when did he get engaged? Got engaged like I think probably about 4 or 5 months ago, and then him and Liz just moved out, and I mean they're getting their lives basically just put together because he's gotten into the School of Business. Good for him. Down here at SIUE, and he's got a job. They have an apartment. I mean they're like. I feel like they've accomplished so much more than I have, and I'm just sitting here, not doing a whole lot.
I mean, I kind of want to wait until I graduate and get, like, a solid job and can at least live comfortably on my own before I decide to settle down and get married, because you're going to run into a lot of problems, like, outside of, college. I mean, like, with financial aid and stuff, you're going to have to work on that.
Yeah, well, I mean...
So, yeah.
So there you go, yeah.
No, I was just saying, not so much the whole settling down, I was just saying in terms of, like, just, like kind of the whole growing up thing, I feel like Taylor passed us, because, I mean, I really don't have any plans, like...
I mean, I don't either.
Just finish school, and then find a job, and then... I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to take a job wherever I can get one.
But Taylor's basically in the same boat because he has a job at Lowe's right now. He's still got to go through the school business and find a job.
Yeah, I mean,
what I'm saying, though, is with him working at Lowe's, if something were to open up, because, like, Lowe's, like, most people think of, like, Lowe's or Home Depot as, like, you're just a stock boy or stock girl, or, like, you just work at the cash register thing. The thing is, though, they have an entire HR department. They do have finance departments at those companies. So if he gets his degree in business... He could, possibly at Lowe's, they might be like, oh, hey, you have your degree in whatever he gets his degree in. I don't know what he's going for. If he gets a degree, they might be like, hey, we have something opening. Would you like to work here full-time at Lowe's? Like, he's kind of giving himself, like, an opening for that
yeah,
type of way.
And it is cool to be able to set yourself up and say, hey, I could potentially move up
where that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, there's a lot of people that start off as stockers or... cashiers or whatever, and then move up in the same company, as you become more qualified, which is cool. Yeah, I know. I've got 2 more years left. Because I start flight school in May, which is awesome, but, I've still got 2 years after that.
For flight time and stuff?
Yeah, I have to... I'll have my private license by December, and then I'll have another 1.5 years onto my commercial license. So,
okay.
And then after that starts, I have to have 1,500 flight hours before I can go into commercial, like into like the airlines.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have 1,500 flight hours. So the next like year after I graduate, I'll be spent getting that.
Oh,
So.
just logging all those hours.
Yeah,
and,
it's after I graduate. It's just getting the time.
yeah.
So.
So Scott, what are your plans after college with your
God, I have no idea.
with your history degree? Are you gonna go back and try to teach, or you
I'm not gonna teach. I don't think I would enjoy that like at all, dealing with kids. I mean, I guess if I taught in college, it wouldn't be so bad, but you have to get your doctorate and shit like that, so that's a whole other deal.
I don't think it even would be that bad teaching in high school. Is it
Depending on the high school.
As long as you're like,
Yeah,
as long as you're
depending on
teaching
the high
like
school,
juniors,
that's important.
juniors and seniors, it wouldn't be as big of a deal.
Right.
Teaching freshman classes would be horrible.
Yeah, freshman, sophomore would be bad. Seniors especially would be great because I mean they don't give a fuck. They don't want to be there just as much as you don't want to be there. So
yeah, they're just looking to because they're not usually they don't want to cause each other. They're not freshmen that are like, oh, I'm gonna be funny and be an asshat like we all were.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I wouldn't have wanted to teach me in high school.
No, I definitely wouldn't have wanted to teach me. Actually, I wouldn't have wanted to teach me my senior year. Because I got into a bunch of class with like my friends, and some of our friends were just the cockiest asshats of all time, and would just cause problems. And they would get away with it because they were like, oh god, these kids will be gone in a year. Just let them do whatever they want.
Well, they get away. Well, some of them got away with it because they were in sports, and then they just write that off. Andy. Yeah.
We'll just say Andy.
We'll just say Andy. He knows who he is.
Yeah, if he ever listens to this, yeah, that kid got away with
just about everything. He plagiarized papers, got away with it.
Yeah,
he would just leave school in the middle of the day and be like, oh.
Yeah, a teacher told him once, like, hey, I noticed this was plagiarized. You need to fix this and turn it in. So he goes, oh, I took that as a sign of I can leave during the middle of the day to go finish this paper.
Oh my god.
And that's exactly what he did.
That's exactly what he did and didn't get in trouble for it.
Okay, confession that I have to make. I didn't show up for about the last 6 weeks of high school. So I graduated with the most absences in my class. Most absences and the most tardies. I had,
oh man.
I think I missed 60 some odd days by the end of the year.
Jeez.
And I had been late over 100 and some odd times. So yeah, I had to come to school the last 3 days of my senior year just to serve time in in-school suspension.
Oh my god.
Because they told me I couldn't graduate if I didn't.
Oh,
me and Scott went to school with two kids. We went to school with Tyler and Will, they racked up. They had like in school suspensions that they were serving like their entire time in high school.
Yeah.
Because they would build up. Sometimes they wouldn't even go. They'd be like, "No, that's cool, man. We're not gonna go. We're not gonna go to that." And then like the punishment for not going to it is that your in school just got lengthened. So if they're or for like Saturday detentions or something. That's right. So it was Saturday detentions that I never went to.
And then it would like double or something, then go to in school,
And they would never do it, so they'd be like, oh no, that's cool, we'll do it later, and then obviously they never did it, and they got away with something like, I think they were both supposed to serve something like over 50 hours of Saturday detentions, and they never did it. They're like, nah, that's cool.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, Scott, you're going into history, which is such that degree is so broad in what you can go into. I mean, people use that as a pre-med degree. They use it as pre-law is really common with that. Education. I mean, it's something that you can do almost anything you want with it. You know, it's really versatile. Now, are you going for your BA in history or your BS?
BS, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's actually even better, I think.
Which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll end up
I'm going for finance. I'm finance and econ.
So you'll have a BS in finance. You'll have a BS in history, and I'll end up eventually with a BS in aviation piloting.
I'm surprised you're not going somewhere like Carbondale, like our sister school.
I am actually. My associate's degree is not through Carbondale. My bachelor's degree is through Carbondale.
Is through Carbondale.
Yeah, so all of my licensing is through the FAA, and then my bachelor's degree, I'll only have to complete 2 semesters, I think, to get my bachelor's degree, and it'll be from Carbondale.
Yeah, all right.
It's the same thing though, same degree. It'll be aviation piloting, but
yeah. So the people that don't know, Carbondale is our big sister school because they're the big. They're the one with the football team, and they like actually good sports and athletics. So and they have a really good flight program. So that's what Dane will be going through. Is I guess then you're going through Carbondale to get all your stuff.
I actually don't have to even go to the Carbondale's Carbondale's campus.
You just go into the.
Well, what they're doing is they're moving. You can go to Carbondale, but they're moving their program to Belleville. So you'll be able to go to Carbondale and take those same classes, but you'll also be able to stay in Belleville and be able to do the same thing. Same degree, same university, same program. It's just different places that you can do it.
All right, so I guess another topic we could talk about is what is the worst vacation you've ever had, either with your family or just something that you went and you thought, hey, I'll do this with my buddies or I'll do this by myself, and then just turned out to be like, oh man, like you had like only like one thing went right or maybe nothing went right. Everything was just super like it didn't work, like the weather was bad or something like that. You know, could you think of one off the top of your head, Scott? When you're like, why did we do this?
It wasn't so much why we did it. I mean, the trip overall was good, but one that comes to the top of my head is when we went to our lake house in Kentucky, and it rained just about every single day. And when it rains there, like, first of all, what I only do there is I swim and fish, and it's not really that fun swimming in the rain. And
we're safe.
Yeah, and the fishing kind of dies in the rain, so like it's not very. There's just not much to do. You just kind of sit inside. So I think that was probably the worst off the top of my head that I could think of. I mean, I still had fun with my family, but I just, I wanted to fish.
Yeah, I think the worst one for me that I can think of was we took a kind of like a road trip, but we ended up going. It was me and my dad and my mom, and they were going to look at houses, and I had to be dragged along. And they went to I think we went to Virginia, and we were originally going to go visit family, and then that fell through. So what we ended up doing is my dad ended up chartering a boat, and the guy took us out, and he said, hey, I'm like, he claimed he was like the Tiger Woods of like trout fishing or something. So of course we go out there, we get zero fish after like 6 or 7 hours.
Oh god!
And of course the captain doesn't want to look like a fool, so he's making up all these things of like, you know what it is. And we're like,
what it is.
Yeah, we know what it is. You suck.
It's the bananas on the boat.
Yeah, bananas on the boat. Yeah, no. It's a fishing joke. No, we just got shut out that day, and then we just drove around and we just did a bunch of boring stuff that my parents thought was fun and I thought was miserable. So it was like, oh, let's go look at this. I'm like, can we please not look at that? And then we'd have to go. I don't know. It was just so boring. And then we didn't even. Originally they were looking to buy retirement houses, and then they didn't like any of them. So they're like, oh, didn't we have fun? No, we did not.
As far as worst vacation for me, I mean, I can't say that I've had a whole lot of bad vacations. If I had to pick one, I guess it would be worst vacation that I think I've ever taken, and it was for no fault but anybody but my own. Was I went when my parents took this big trip out west, and it really was we went from Illinois all the way to California and back, and it was about 2.5 weeks, I think, if I remember that right. that was probably the worst vacation I've taken, and it wasn't because of the vacation itself. It was because I was in that like super angsty preteen phase. I think I was 12 or 13 at the time that we did it. So I was like super angsty. It was like, mom and dad fucking suck, whatever. So yeah, that was probably the worst vacation, but that was more, more my fault than anything. Okay, what about best vacation?
I've had a lot of vacations and I've absolutely loved.
This is hard.
I'm gonna say 2. First one being a time that me and my dad flew up to Canada to go fishing on a lake that that was owned by an Indian, like a tribe of Indians, and they had only opened it in opened up to the public for fishing in something like 2000. I think it was literally 2006 or 2007. I was a freshman in high school, and we flew up there, and I mean, the fish didn't know anything between fake lure, like what a lure was, or like anything. They would just hit literally anything you threw out there, they'd go for, which was awesome for me because I was just like, oh man, I'm just killing it left and right. And then my other one I would probably say is probably the first time I went on a cruise. That was a lot of fun because I got the room with my cousin, and I mean we just goof around because you could order room service like regardless of like what time it was. We basically just did whatever we wanted. Like you were supposed to go to like these fancy dinners each night, and we'd always show up super late because we were like, oh, we lost track of time, which was a lie. We just didn't really want to go. So, and I don't know, I just had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would also have to go too. First I gotta say, I've had a lot of really good vacations. Growing up, my parents were really good about taking us anywhere and everywhere, growing up. And then as I got older, I love traveling. I even took a lot. I've taken some really good trips, myself, or with friends, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I've had a lot of good trips, and it's hard to pick out, just one. But if I had to, pick, I think the one that stands out to me when I went with my parents. My parents own a condo in Daytona, and when we went, it was right before we moved here, so it would have been I think 2012, summer of 2012. My long-term girlfriend at the time came with me, and we went to my parents' condo with my parents. And yeah, I know that doesn't sound exactly like the most cool romantic getaway because you're with your parents and stuff. It was a really, really fun vacation, and we had a lot of fun. It was there was no complaints about the whole weekend. I mean, the only thing I think I could complain about is that there was kind of a tropical storm offshore going on at the time, so it was kind of rainy the whole time.
Yeah. But
it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. I mean, it was cool. It was fun. And I went on vacation with her family. It was a couple months before that. We went to see her grandma in Florida, and it was the same way. It was just a lot of fun. We had a lot. That was the first relationship I had that I can honestly say I just had fun with. And it was a lot of fun. So, yeah, that definitely sticks out in my mind as probably the best vacation.
Scott?
Nice. I have 2 also like Matt. One of them was with Matt, actually, when him and our dads went down to Florida.
That's a good one.
And we went to Key West. And we took a boat, and we went deep sea fishing for, I think it was 3 days. Yeah, 3 days. And we just saw, it was just so cool, the amount of, aquatic life you could see out there, like jellyfish, porpoises. We caught a shark. It was just, that was really fun. I would love to do that again.
The thing I didn't realize is at night, jellyfish kind of, they
glow almost.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's so cool to see that.
And then the flying fish were jumping into the boat.
And our captain was an idiot. That guy was getting drunk every night and then he'd wake up super hungover and be like,
Yeah.
the fish are in the sea. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, no shit.
They're in the sea. He
So-
parked us by some other boats. He's just like, I guess they're around here.
Yeah, that or his other classic was it was we were all right. He gave you the things of chum, and
Yeah.
what you do is you take the chum, you put it in a bag, and you drop it in the water, and it would attract all the fish. You could see them all. So he would get like really into it, like when we get all the fish up there, and like I think one time I got like there was no way at the time I could have ever brought this fish in. It
Yeah.
was like I probably hooked like a 40 or 50 pound amberjack,
Oh god.
and it dove straight down. And he flipped. He's like, oh, go, don't lose the fish. And I'm like, what? And then it's just the line broke, and he like looked at me for like 10 seconds. He's just like, you know how rare of a fish that is? I'm like, I don't think it's really that rare because I see like 6 more of them swimming around here. And then we caught a Goliath grouper. And you're not allowed to legally take those because they're an endangered species.
That was the small one, though. We took the big one, though, because we could.
Yeah, no, we weren't supposed to. You're not supposed to take any of them.
Okay, well, we took it.
We took it because our captain's
And
like,
it was massive.
Yeah, it was. I hooked that one. I don't remember how I hooked that one either. But our guy was a doofus. He was just because like he looked at the fish. He's like, oh, it's not a Goliath grouper. My dad's sitting there. He's like,
It's a
pretty
huge
sure
fucking
it's a
red.
Goliath grouper. So we get it into I think we got back to port, and then the guys were like, hey, not supposed to be taking that fish. So we gutted it and threw it in the bay and just let they were huge
And then there were
tarpon.
huge, like, 8-foot tarpon just feeding off the scraps of us, and yeah, they were massive. You could see them between the boats. They were just having a feeding frenzy.
So what would be your other vacation, Scott? We got a little distracted there.
That would be probably when I went to Kentucky Lake when the weather was nice. And my Aunt Ann, Dave, my cousins, my Aunt Kristen, Uncle Mike, my cousin Gus, and then my grandma and grandpa were there, and my mom and dad, and my sister. And my Uncle John, and Aunt Gretchen. So we just had the whole family.
The whole
Your whole fucking family.
Whole family rolled out.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun because just everybody was there, and yeah, that was good.
Yeah. It's cool. Okay. Well, actually, back to my favorite vacation. On the drive back, I'm from kind of the Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky border region originally.
Mm-hmm.
And on the way back, my dad was tired, my mom was tired, and so they asked me if I would drive. And I said, yeah, no problem, it's fine. We're driving through Kentucky, and I kind of zoned out for a while, and I missed my turn. And instead of getting onto the Kentucky Turnpike, I ended up staying on the interstate, which, is bad because I don't live. We ended up in a town called Metropolis, Illinois, which is it's very, very, very far south. It's about as south as you can get in Illinois, and the cool thing is that there's the statue of Superman and stuff. It's kind of cool. So my mom wakes up. She was sitting in the front seat, and my ex-girlfriend was asleep in the back, and my dad was asleep in the back too. And my mom wakes up and goes, "Where the fuck are we?" And I go, "I think we're in Metropolis." I was like, "I think we're near Metropolis." And she said, "Why the fuck are we here?" I said, "I don't know. I think I took a wrong turn." And so I told her, I'm like, "I'm going to Metropolis." And she's like, No, you're not. You're not going to Metropolis. I want to go home. And I said, "I'm this close to Metropolis and the Superman statue. I'm going to go and see it." And so we went and saw it. It was cool. It was a lot of fun. My mom was pissed, but it was one of those cool, like, vacation, stories. It was fun. It was a really just all around good trip. It's a good time.
Like, you were glad you took that Metropolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I'm sure my mom isn't glad that we took it, but it was really, really fun. It was kind of that added, it was one more story to add.
And
to
it's
the
like,
play.
and we also did this.
Right. So, okay, we're kind of on the subject of, weddings and trips and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my friend Shelby's wedding was obviously, like I said, it was very small. My brother's wedding was very big. Would you want a big, elaborate wedding, or would you want a small, simple ceremony?
Small.
Small?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, probably small.
When I was, growing up, I always thought I want a big wedding, stuff like that. And as I've gotten older, I've kind of gotten into that small.
Yeah,
Smaller the better.
I don't think it really needs to be
Because I
that
think
big.
that's so much more work you're just putting yourself
That's a
up
lot of
for.
work.
Right.
It's a lot of stress. It's a lot of money. It's
Yeah, like with my brother's wedding, I mean, obviously I had fun. I liked their wedding a lot. But it was so much stress, with the photographer, and you have to do this, have to do that. It was very stressful, and I think that sometimes that takes away from what the wedding's supposed to be about. Yeah. I think it takes away from the focal point of the day.
Yeah, that these two people are coming together
Right.
out of love. Yeah. I can see that. But now, would you rather have? Would you want? This is gonna sound really dumb, but I've always wanted to have a funeral that was super huge and more of a party than everybody oh my god, he's dead. I want people to more be like, he had a good run. Now let's get super loaded and pass out all over the place. I feel like that'd be.
I definitely don't want people to be sad because, I mean, whatever. It's just part of life, dying. So, I mean, just enjoy it. I mean, not enjoy that I'm dead, but, it's...
Or enjoy that he's dead. I mean, that's just how you felt
I don't know,
about it.
celebrate, how I lived, I guess. I mean, yeah, that's what I would rather be remembered for.
Like a fool?
Yes, like a fool.
He lived like a fool, and he died like a fool.
As far as funerals go, I really don't want... I think my dad's kind of the same way. I don't want anybody mourning me at my funeral. Mm-hmm. Whether, I die at 100 years old or at 25, I don't care. Don't come and mourn at my funeral. That seems like a really strange idea to me, to be sad that somebody died. Because it happens to everybody. Why be sad about it? Everybody dies. It's fine. Make it a party.
Well, I mean,
have fun with it.
I could see if you're sad if it was something something ridiculous, you got murdered in a home invasion or something something way out there, something that it happens, but it's not.
I guess I should say that I don't understand why people are sad at funerals. Just that, don't be sad about it. I guess be sad when you need to be sad, but you're there for not even really for the person, but for you, to get your closure. Make it an experience where you're going to remember the person like you remembered them in life. I think that at funerals, a lot of times, you end up remembering somebody for their funeral.
Yeah, I think
and what they were like in death, and not what they were like in life. You know,
that's how I felt about what was the last funeral I went? Oh, last funeral I remember going to was my grandfather's, and the thing that was hard for me, at the funeral, was that I'd only seen him the times that I really had of the fresh memories were him at the nursing home, and he had Alzheimer's, so he's saying he couldn't remember anybody, and it'd be for me, he kept calling me Kevin, which of course I'm not gonna correct him. It doesn't matter at that point, right?
Remember, yeah.
So yeah, he's not gonna remember. So, and I wasn't oh my gosh, Grandpa, you couldn't remember. It didn't really. I was kind of sad that he couldn't remember who I was, but it wasn't the number one thing on my mind.
Right.
Of oh, why would you do? No, but that one was just my dad went up and he did a really good job. So now it's gotta be hard to have to bury your dad, the person who basically looked up to you your whole life, and he did a good job. And then some of the other people that went up to talk just talked about the last time they saw him and how bad of a shape he was in. I'm why wouldn't you tell a story that would make people happy and be yeah, that was the guy we remember, not the person that they became due to their illness or whatever happened. And that's what I'd rather have at my funeral, more so than
Yeah. Well, I mean, granted, this is getting kind of personal, but my grandpa had a stroke. I think it was 4 years ago now,
Mm-hmm.
and mentally he's still there. It's all's good there, but physically, he's not.
He's struggling, yeah.
Right, yeah. Physically, he's not exactly as he used to be. And he's not, terrible. He's not bedridden or anything like that. But he used to be very physically active and things like that, and he's just not able to be anymore. And, but, when it's all said and done, I'm not going to remember him as somebody that couldn't get out and do stuff. I'm going to remember him as him going anywhere. I mean, him and my grandma, after he retired, you never knew whether they were going to be home or not. They would just
go out and
wake
do
up.
something.
Yeah, they'd wake up one morning and decide they were going to go to Florida, and then they'd just go do it. And that was awesome. That was so cool, and I know they had a lot of fun doing that. I remember one time, it was actually just a couple years before he had a stroke, they decided that they were going to go and drive up the California beach highway.
Yeah.
So they went they went there. They rented a Corvette as soon as they got there, and they drove from. I believe they went from Southern California all the way to Northern California. I think they went south to north instead of north-south. I mean, that's awesome. I hope I get to do that.
Just
stuff
have
like
that freedom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hope that I get, the opportunity to have the type of freedom where it's like, I can go and do stuff like that. Like, that's really, really cool. Not a whole lot of people get an opportunity to go and do stuff like that. And my grandma and grandpa are just amazing people in that they've gotten to do so much stuff. It's really cool.
No, that is cool that your grandparents could just kind of pick up and go do whatever they really wanted to do.
Right, and obviously, they worked really, really hard, their whole lives to be able to get to that point, to be able to go do that, which is, and I mean, it's just really cool that they were able to, do that for so long. And I mean, they're not shut-ins by any means. I mean, they still are really active people, and it's really cool. I hope anybody has that much energy when they get older, because I hope everybody has the energy to be able to go and do stuff like they do stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. So are both your grandparents alive on both sides of your family?
Yes. Both of my grandparents on my mom's side and my dad's side are both still alive. Mm-hmm. The only both of my great grandfathers have died, and one of my great grandmothers have died. So I still have one great grandmother, and I still have both sets of grandparents.
That's awesome. Yeah, because
there you go.
I only got I never met my great grandparents. I kind of remember, because the only one I have left now is my grandma on my mom's side, because she's still doing good though. She's still in good health and everything, which is good, because you don't want to, like, she's still active, she still drives and stuff like that, and she has fun. She still goes to ball games all the time. She loves it. She's a huge Cincinnati Reds fan, so she goes out to the park and just kind of like what your grandparents do, just enjoy themselves in their old age.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know how long they have, so might as well just take each day as its
cool.
a little joy.
Oh, why not?
Because Scott, what are your you still have grandma and grandpa and your grandma on your dad's side, right?
Yeah. But my grandparents on my mom's side they're just chilling.
Are they still in California?
Yeah, but there's not really much they're doing. They're just chilling.
Yeah,
they're trying to decide what to do next, and then my grandma on my dad's side's just doing what she always does in Sheffield, just chilling.
Yeah, Scott's grandparents have like one of the coolest houses I've ever been to in San Diego.
San Diego.
They had a sweet house up on the hill.
It was on a mountain.
On a mountain. Sorry.
It was in Poway. Very nice view. It's very
Yeah,
cool.
it had a really cool view. You could at night they sat up and you could look down at the city, and they had a hot tub that went into a pool, and then your grandpa put in a
putting green.
Putting green in his backyard.
That's awesome.
I actually think he did that just to piss my grandma off. I'm pretty sure that's why he did that.
Pure spite.
I think that is actually why he did it.
That's great. My dad actually spent a large portion of childhood growing up near San Diego.
It's a nice area.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, because my grandpa was in the Air Force, and they were stationed in
Yeah.
Lompoc.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they were stationed
Yes.
in Lompoc, California for a long time. So my dad spent a lot of time growing up in San Diego.
Yeah, over the house. It wasn't more recent, but back like in the early 2000s and 90s, you could see the jet fighters training,
Yeah.
like dogfighting each
Yeah,
other. It's really cool.
yeah. My dad really liked the area.
Yeah, it's nice.
I've been to LA. I've never been to like San Diego. I've never been in that area, but I've heard that whole area is really really cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, and it's also really expensive to live there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and LA is, just speaking from like LA, everybody that I have met that has been to LA either loves it or they hate it.
I'm sure it also depends on where you live in LA, so
Yeah.
that matters too.
Well, I have been to LA, and
Did you
the
like it?
city sucks. Okay, the city sucks. But once you get into the hills with the houses, that's cool. But it's not somewhere I'd want to live because the streets are so narrow.
They
It's
are really
ridiculous.
narrow,
It's
yeah.
ridiculous. I don't
That's
know
what I
how
also
to
thought
drive.
about when we went to La Jolla, Scott, when your parents took us down to La Jolla.
The hills in LA
Is
are
it-
worse.
Are they worse?
Worse.
La Jolla,
Way
though,
worse.
La Jolla was cool because me and Scott really wanted to go see cars. And
Yeah, there's
La
a
Jolla,
Lambo
oh my
dealership.
gosh. We went to Lambo dealerships, we went to a Maserati delership. I mean, I remember just walking down the street and
you just see cars
just-
left and right
yeah, just
because
Ferrari.
people have so much money.
yeah, then we went to a store and I was looking at this pair of jeans. I'm like, these things are cool. I flipped that price tag, $958.
Yeah.
I made sure that my fingerprints were
God.
off those jeans. I'm like I am not going. I'm
Yeah,
not paying for these bad boys.
Yeah, for Christmas a couple years ago, I took my ex-girlfriend to Chicago, and we were just there for the day. We were just hanging out and doing our thing, and it was obviously it was near Christmas, and we were walking down, where all the shops and things are, and we saw the Ralph Lauren store, and we decided to go in. We went in. We went upstairs, and there was this, smoking jacket that I really liked, and she told me, she's like, why don't you own this already? And I'm like, oh my god, this thing looks really cool. I'm gonna buy it. I look at the price tag; it's $1,700.
Oh my gosh!
For one suit coat. I about threw up. I just walked out of the store, and I wondered why. Because when I was dressed fairly decently.
Yeah.
But when we walked into the store, all these people just kept staring at us, and I was like, "That's why this place. We can't afford a thing in this place."
We can afford to get out of this place.
Right.
Yeah, no, there's just some places that you're just like, why would you ever want to pay that much for like the jeans? They were cool. They weren't that cool though. I mean, I wouldn't want to spend the $900 for it.
I mean, I hope I'm never that rich where I just have to buy the most expensive clothes.
Right.
Because
You feel the need
that's
that you
absurd.
have to buy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would because it's. I mean, I guess you've made it if you're like, oh, I can afford these, but it's like if you ever get to that point where you're like, I need to buy. If my jeans are less than $900, they're not worth buying.
Right.
Then obviously I need to go back and look over some of the choices I've done the last few years.
That or you don't, because you've obviously made a shit ton of money.
I know. I changed my entire way of I'm too good for Levi's because they don't cost bazillions of dollars.
I can't even afford Levi's actually. Yeah. So Levi's are a little out of my price range actually.
That's okay. We're not judging you.
Yeah.
I'm secretly judging
I'm
you.
really poor. So
We are all really poor.
right.
We have to go
Yeah,
home to
we're
our
already
parents
poor.
and be like, can we have monies?
No, see, I don't even really do that. I'm just floating around poor, man.
Yeah, well.
Believe me, I'm sure right when I get out of college and all that money stops coming, I'll be like, But Mom, Dad, I thought you loved me.
Don't you love
Don't
me?
you love me? And then it'll be like, no, we've given you more than your fair share of money. I can't blame them though.
Yeah,
Paying for
that's why I don't
college
want to have kids, because I know how much money my parents have spent raising me that I don't see it as worth it, man. Like, you're going to spend all of your hard-earned money,
on this kid.
yeah, on somebody else. I want to keep my money to myself.
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to all make sacrifices.
No, I don't. And I keep hearing like, oh, you'll want kids when you're older. No, I still, from the time I was like 16 to now, still just have no interest in children. I like I've got little sisters. One's 7, one's 2, and I have just no interest.
Man, your parents are still pumping out kids?
Well, my 2 sisters are adopted.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Still, they're just taking on more kids?
yeah, my oldest sister is 7, and she's adopted from China. My youngest sister's 2, and she's adopted from Taiwan. But there's a almost 15-year age gap between me and my oldest sister.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she's almost 15 years younger than me. She's about 4. I think there's about 14 and a half years, I think, between me and her.
Sheesh.
Yeah,
So-
my sister's 12 years older than me.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty big age gap, too. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, my little sisters are growing up in a house that, they have 2 older brothers, but I've never lived at home with my youngest sister. I lived at home with Ava for the first 5 years of her life, but my little sister Carrie, I have never lived at home with her, and I think my brother only spent the first maybe 6 months living with her. So they grow up in a totally different environment. It's like it's like a totally different family.
Yeah.
Because they grow up in an environment where they've got these 2 older brothers, but I mean we have not lived at home for most of the time that they've been alive.
Yeah, now that I think about it, if your one sister's 2, and you're 21,
Right.
by the time she's your age, you'll be 40.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. It'll be
Which is
crazy.
Such a huge, that's
It's
crazy.
such a huge gap between...
I'll be a middle-aged man by the time they're getting married. Yeah. Which is
You'll be like,
ridiculous.
oh, I remember all the mistakes I made at this age. Here's
Yeah.
what you don't do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is weird, because I'm thinking, shit, by the time I die, they're going to be in their 50s. They're going to be, just say I hit the average. They're going to be middle-aged people by the time I'm an old man and die.
Come on, we gotta go visit Uncle Dane. Uncle Dane's 80. Shut up.
Shut
Yeah,
up!
they're gonna be middle-aged people with a lot of time left, and it's I'm gonna be dead. If I even made it to 70, and I highly doubt that, but if I do,
Hey, you never know. You might make it to 70. You might make it to 170.
yeah,
You're not gonna make it that far.
yeah, unless I have super liver, and I really doubt that I do. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Or unless they invent immortality, before I kick the bucket.
We don't really need immortality. We just need new livers. That's all we're really gonna do.
Oh yeah, I mean
Liver
that's-
transplant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What? I'm an idiot. Why haven't we done that yet? I can get a new liver tomorrow. God, I am so drunk right now. I decided I was going to try and chug 4 beers before my Chinese food got here, and I managed to get 2 down, but I think this is number 6 on as far as beers go. And
You just ate though too. How are you drunk off of 2 beers?
well, you got to take into consideration that I am kind of dehydrated from driving and shit. And
Why haven't you drank fluids, not alcohol?
I don't drink while I don't even
You don't
drink.
drink while you drive. That's a good
No.
call. That's a good call.
No, I don't even drink water while I drive.
Why?
No, because when I am driving long distances,
You don't want to have to pull over.
yeah, I don't want to have to pull over for anything other than what I have to pull over for, and so I just will dehydrate myself purposely to not have to stop to pee.
I think you're insane, Dane.
I think that's the
Dude, that's
greatest thing I've ever
that's
heard.
what I do, man. Like it's, I mean, that's my strategy going into any time I have to.
Well, I mean, but even when we're driving home, and it's like a 5.5-hour drive, I have a thing of water, and I don't ever have to stop to pee.
Well, I've got a smaller bladder than you, Scott.
Oh, well.
Some of us are just bone different. Oh, you want to call it here?
I need more beer.
A little over an hour.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and call it. All right, well, follow us on Twitter at Eat Drink Dump.
And our YouTube handle at Eat Drink Dump.
Yeah, please subscribe. We could use the
views.
subscribers and the
support.
views. Yeah, well, thanks for listening, and we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode of Eat Drink Dump. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.